Welcome to the Def Cam. Following India's Operation Sindoor, a unilateral military strike launched in May 2025 under the pretext of counterterrorism. Pakistan has entered a heightened state of alert amid signs of a possible follow-up offensive. Islamabad views the operation not as a targeted retaliation, but as a politically motivated escalation by the Modi's government, exploiting the Kashmir issue for electoral mileage and to project regional dominance. The attack, which utilized Scalp EG cruise missiles from Rafale fighters and BrahMos NG systems launched from Su-30 MKIs, caused civilian casualties in both Pakistan-administered Kashmir and Punjab. Pakistan has rejected Indian claims about targeting militant infrastructure, branding the operation a violation of sovereignty and an act of aggression requiring calibrated but firm countermeasures. Islamabad believes New Delhi is driven by a mix of domestic political imperatives, military overconfidence, and broader regional ambitions. Indian military statements following the attack emphasize the need for continued pressure to dismantle what it labels as Pakistan's proxy networks, suggesting a doctrinal shift towards sustained attrition rather than one-off punitive strikes. Pakistan interprets this shift as part of a larger strategy to destabilize its western flank and economically isolate the country through hybrid warfare and coercive diplomacy. To counter the evolving Indian threat, Pakistan is upgrading its air and missile defense network, focusing on integrating ZDK-3 and Karakoram Eagle airborne early warning platforms with HQ-9B surface-to-air missile systems. These assets successfully intercepted over 70 incoming Indian projectiles during Operation Sindoor, demonstrating the maturity of Pakistan's layered air defense structure. The JF-17 Block 3 fleet is now being equipped with PL-15E long-range air-to-air missiles and advanced electronic warfare pods, sourced from Turkey and China to neutralize the electronic superiority of India's Rafale fighters and their Spectre systems. In the naval domain, Pakistan has detected the repositioning of Kalvari-class Indian submarines and the movement of the INS Vikrant carrier group, signaling potential enforcement of a maritime blockade. To deter such moves, Pakistan is conducting joint naval patrols with the Chinese Navy, featuring Type 54 frigates and Hungur-class submarines. These drills are aimed at protecting the country's sea lanes, especially around Gwadar, a vital node of the China-Pakistan economic corridor and a primary target in India's strategic calculus. Any Indian attempt to strike Gwadar would not only escalate the conflict with Pakistan, but would also draw in Chinese strategic interest, drastically raising the regional stakes. India's growing integration of drone swarm systems and loitering munitions has been noted with concern. In response, Pakistan is accelerating its own drone programs, including Shapar-3 and Buraq platforms, and deploying point defense systems to guard critical installations. Simultaneously, Pakistan Cyber Command has intensified electronic warfare operations, launching spoofing attacks against Indian satellite networks and probing vulnerable infrastructure hubs such as the Mumbai power grid, using artificial intelligence tools to achieve persistent access. India's suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty is viewed in Islamabad as a grave provocation bordering on economic warfare. New Delhi's acceleration of hydro-infrastructure projects, including the Rutli Dam and the Uj Multi-Purpose Project, threatens to divert significant water resources from Pakistan's agrarian heartland. Satellite imagery confirms that India is fast-tracking construction along key tributaries of the Indus Basin, endangering food security in Punjab and Sindh. Pakistan has lodged formal protests with the World Bank, and China has offered technical assistance to develop counter-diversion infrastructure. On the diplomatic front, India's efforts to isolate Pakistan are intensifying, with pressure on Gulf states to reduce remittances and deport Pakistani workers. These measures, carried out under the veneer of counterterrorism cooperation, are intended to destabilize Pakistan's external financial position at a time when it is managing a delicate economic recovery. Islamabad views these moves as indirect economic aggression and has engaged with partners such as China, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia to neutralize their effects. In anticipation of further escalation, Pakistan has forward-deployed NASAR tactical nuclear weapons near Sialkot to reinforce deterrence thresholds against Indian ground incursions. Islamabad's red lines remain clearly defined. Any Indian attempt to seize territory in Azad Kashmir or conduct strategic strikes against infrastructure in Baluchistan would invite immediate and disproportionate retaliation, potentially involving nuclear escalation. India's recent Agni-P missile tests and forward positioning of S-400 batteries are interpreted as preparation for a decapitation strike, prompting Pakistan to enhance survivability protocols and maintain second strike readiness through a mix of land and sea-based delivery systems. While the May 10th ceasefire was brokered by the United States and the United Arab Emirates, Pakistan remains skeptical of India's sincerity, especially given its insistence on excluding third-party mediation. China's support remains crucial for Islamabad, evident in its vetoes against UN sanctions and delivery of force-multiplying assets such as Wing Long-2 drones and long-range air-to-surface munitions. Russia's neutrality, rooted in its arms deals with both sides, limits multilateral diplomatic leverage and reflects a broader international paralysis in preventing South Asia from sliding toward open conflict. Pakistan assesses that India's long-term strategy seeks to bleed Islamabad through a combination of military pressure, diplomatic sabotage, economic isolation, and psychological warfare. However, any miscalculation by New Delhi could invite a catastrophic response. With both nations locked into rigid escalation ladders, and with nationalist politics rising in India ahead of the 2026 elections, the risks of uncontrolled confrontation are growing. Pakistan continues to seek strategic balance through regional alliances, deterrence postures, and calibrated retaliation, but the fragility of the current détente depends entirely on India's willingness to step back from the brink. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos.